Hey folks, welcome to First Tech's COVID video series. We're going to try to teach you guys some things that will hopefully turn into money eventually. What I want to show you today, what we're going to focus on in this video, is window automation. I see a lot of people that I think would like to do window automation, but I get a lot of phone calls which leads me to believe that they can't. So we're going to talk about how to make this happen. So this truck here happens to be my 2018 Toyota Tundra 1794 edition. And we've got the windows hooked up. So I'll show you how this works. This is going to be the drone app. So if you want to do it from the drone, I've got it set up to just be aux 2 for windows down. So just touch aux 2. You'll see the windows will roll down. Sunroof opens or moonroof opens. And that's how that works. And then you can also trigger the auxiliary commands from a remote. So I've got secure aux turned off, which I'll explain to you in a little bit, but all I have to do to roll them back up is tap the trunk button on the remote, and you'll see the windows will roll up and the moonroof closes. So let's take a closer look at how we did this in the truck. Okay folks, we've got the dash drop down now, and we're just going to look and see what exactly is required in this particular application to make these windows roll up and down with the drone and the remote. So as you can see, I've got a self-piercing probe on the unlock and disarm wire, and I've got a 12-volt lead on a positive source right at the brain. So it allows us to test and verify that we're on the correct wire in the vehicle. So how you operate the windows in this particular application is with the key in the driver's door key cylinder. So this is how you test to verify that this is actually going to work. So you can turn the key and hold it to the lock position, and you'll see that the windows roll up. And then if you turn the key and hold it to the unlock position, you'll see that the windows do in fact roll down, and this also controls the moonroof at the same time. So what we're going to do now is we'll verify and show you how you actually are testing for this. So you're going to have your meter set to DC voltage. And you'll see at this point, I just have a very small amount of residual voltage there. And then if I turn the key in the driver's door key cylinder to the unlock position, you'll see it goes to full voltage there. So that actually shows that the key, I'm holding it to unlock, as you can see. That shows you that you do in fact have the correct wire. The other thing that you have to test is the lock wire, which would be done the same way. Obviously, that lock and arm wire is going to be tested the same way with a multimeter. And you'll notice, if you guys have done a lot of TL7 vehicles, you'll see that the pinout on these, this is obviously TL9, you'll see that the pinout for the arm and disarm wires is the same. So it's one pin down from that top corner for its light blue for unlock, disarm, black for arm and lock, which is in the bottom corner opposite that pin. Okay, folks, so we have everything out of the vehicle now. Obviously, I didn't pull what was in there out, but I wanted to have this laid out on the bench so you guys had a better view of what was actually happening and the programming features that were required to be changed to make that particular setup in the Toyota work. So what I'm going to do first is we'll go through the settings that I've changed in the brain with the OP500. And with this particular setup, you are going to need an OP500 because you need to have the numerical values for the timed auxiliary outputs, and you need to be able to change those, which requires an OP500. So I'm just going to unplug the antenna, I'll plug in the OP500, and I will show you all the different features that have been changed. So you want to make sure, obviously, plugging into the top port. Once this reads the brain, you'll see the settings that need to be changed to make this happen. So we're going to go right to option group 4. So option group 4 is where you can change the settings for the auxiliary controls. So I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2 output control is 1 and 2, 4-1 and 4-2. So we're going to want to change those from the default, which is a half a second. We're going to want to change those to programmable time. So you'll see that I've already changed those features. So they're set to 4 on both. And then the next one you're going to want to change is 4-5. If you want it to operate like I showed you over there with the remote where it's just a single touch for up and down, you're going to turn the secure auxiliaries off. So there's 3 different settings for secure aux. You can either have it on. If you have it on, you're going to be required to make some button press and hold functions before the actual auxiliaries will work. You can have it off, which means it's off completely, so you only need the 1 tap on trunk or key. Or you can have it on while armed, which means if the alarm is armed or the brain is armed, then it will require secure aux. If it's disarmed or unlocked, then you can just do it as a 1-touch option. So I actually like setting 3 for that. So we'll change 4 or 5 to number 3, and that makes it easier. Like I said, that way all you have to do is tap trunk or tap key to operate the auxiliaries. The other things that we need to change is the functions of our POCs, because on the brains, there's no default aux1 and aux2. So what you're going to need to do now is go into your POC settings, which is Special Option Group 2, which if you scroll past Option Group 4, you'll see POCs. We'll go back to those aux in just a second. So what I've used and what I used in the truck is POC 5 and POC 6. So that's your arm and disarm wires are as default. So you've got orange, white, and orange. So POC 5 I set to number 10, and POC 6 is set to number 11. You can see here on the option chart, POC 5 default is disarm, so that will function as auxiliary 1, and POC 6 is set to number 11, which is auxiliary 2. And then as you saw, what we're going to need to do is go back and change the time output for our auxiliary 1 and auxiliary 2. By changing option 4.1 and option 4.2 to setting 4, it allows you to program that time anywhere from 3 to 99 seconds or 1 to 15 minutes on those auxiliary outputs. So we're going to, it's actually 1 to 99 seconds, I apologize. We're going to go ahead and change it to 7 seconds. So where we get that 7 seconds from is when you turn and hold the key, you're going to kind of count in your head to determine how long it takes for those windows to roll down, and the same for the roll up. So you may find that it takes longer to roll the windows up. Obviously, the motors are working a little harder when they're going up, especially if the voltage is low. That changes the speed at which the windows move. So you may have to adjust the time after you're done with everything, and that's very easily done by going back in with the OP500 to change that time. So that's all that needs to be changed. Once you write those settings to the brain, you're just going to press and hold the W. Once this is done, this will allow for aux control from the remote. So we're all set here. So we're going to plug back in the antenna. And I use just a basic remote, which is the 900R remote, just to show you guys that this can be done with just a basic remote. You don't need a fancy remote. There's nothing crazy about this remote. So all you do is just make sure if you're using the system while it's armed, for secure aux on these remotes, you have to press and hold trunk and key for 2.5 seconds simultaneously. And then you would tap key or tap trunk. If it's disarmed, so we'll hit the disarm. You hear the brain click twice. Now we can just tap key. That will give us the auxiliary output. Or we can tap, we'll wait till that time's out. You'll hear it click. And then you can tap trunk, and that will give us the other auxiliary output. So now you're probably saying, well, that's fantastic. However, that's a very small percentage of the vehicles that are going to work like that, where we can just do a timed output directly to the vehicle. So how do we handle this if, in fact, we have to go directly to the power window motors themselves? So what you're going to do is you're going to take a couple of relays. I like to tape my relays together in small packs like this. So each window that you're going to do is going to require 2 relays to keep them isolated. One for up, one for down. So if you're doing 2 front windows, it's going to take 4 relays total. If you're doing all 4 windows on a car and you're going to the motor wires, it's going to require 8 relays in total. So just remember that. So you can either use, these are just the relays that used to come in our boxes with the brains. I have a whole bunch of these left over. You can use that, or obviously you can use the pre-wired harness and buy the relay that has the pre-wired harness on it. I prefer to make my own harnesses. I think it's a little bit neater that way. But this will just give you an idea. So basically what I've done is in the bench, I've built the relay setup for power window up and power window down if you're going directly to the power window motors in the vehicle. So this is going to require a 5-wire setup. So basically what we have is we have a fused, remember fused 12-volt constant feed, and that's going to feed pins 87 and pin 85 or 86, doesn't really matter, but you're going to have 12-volt constant to pin 87 on both relays, and then you're going to have 12 volts constant to 85 or 86, which is one side of your coil. The other side of the coil is going to get your auxiliary 1 output from the brain and the auxiliary 2 output from the brain to trigger that relay. So then you're basically going to get to the power window motor in the vehicle, and 87A is going to go to the switch side of that wire. So you're going to cut that wire in half, and you're going to test in the vehicle, and you're going to send 87A to the switch side, and 30 will go to the motor side. So basically this is going to interrupt that circuit in the vehicle. Again, switch side for 87A, motor side for 30. To test what you're going to do in the vehicle, once you've cut the wire, you're going to take your multimeter, set it for DC voltage, and then once you do that, you're going to be able to test to find out which side is the switch and which side is the motor by actuating the switch. You'll see 12 volts on the switch side of the wire when you actuate the switch for the power window up or down, whichever it may be. Once you find the switch side, you'd obviously connect that 87A to the switch and then connect pin 30 to the motor. So just for instance, I'm going to go ahead and connect this so we can see this actually function. Well, actually, you'll see it on the meter here, so you're not going to see the windows go up and down, obviously. But I'm just going to do this quick. I'm just going to kind of twist these together just for testing purposes and to allow you guys to see it actually work on the meter. We're going to set our meter for DC voltage. We have one probe on ground. So the black probe is on ground. The red probe is on our pin 30, which is going to give us a constant 12-volt output when we actuate the auxiliary. So you will see I've got this is set up for aux 2. So when I tap the key button, you'll see the meter reads full voltage, and it's timed for 7 seconds. So you'll see that it came in and went away after 7 seconds. So if I move my 12-volt lead from the aux 2 to the aux 1 relay, and I tap trunk, you're going to see again 7-second output. And basically what that's doing is that's sending 12 volts to the motor side, and the switch side is still resting at ground. So it actuates the motor and rolls the window up or down, however you have it oriented. Good. So folks, that's it for window automation. If you guys have any questions, please either post them on this video and I can answer them, or one of the other tech guys can answer them. And hopefully you guys are all well and we get back to work soon. Have a great day.